Viewers, thank you very much for staying with us all this while from morning till now. And we are actually going live for 7 hours now, non-stop, with videos and sharing from yoga practitioners all around the world. So I would like to take this moment to actually thank our sponsors and even organizers who made this event to be very successful. Thank you for all your support to make this event and one of its kind in Malaysia and globally. So, with this kind of support and encouragement, we are actually motivated to do more in the coming future. So, for the next program, we have a very special person here who has her expertise in what she's about to share with us today. So, please join me to welcome Dr. Rani Gupta, Director of Kaya Kalpa Hospital, Delhi, live with us now. It was our pleasure and honor to have Dr. Rani here today to share some information and understanding on Ayurveda and success story of infertility. So without ado, let's welcome Dr. Rani. Hi, Doctor. How
Namaskar.
are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much. So,
It's
namaskar
our
to
pleasure
all
to have you here today, Rani.
Thank you so much. Namaskar to all the participants who are present here. It's such a nice opportunity to be here. I am Dr. Rani Gupta, Ayurvedic gynecologist, presently practicing in New Delhi for past 16 years at SKK Ayurveda and Panchkarma Center. I have done my post graduation MD in Ayurvedic gynecology from BHU, Varanasi, and since then I am practicing as an Ayurvedic gynecologist. So today, on the occasion of this National Yoga Day, we'll talk a little bit about Ayurveda and the treatments of infertility.
Dr. Rani, what I'll do is I will leave you with the viewers. Do share your information with them. I'll come back to you once you are done. Yeah?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Okay. So I would like to give a brief introduction about how in Ayurveda we deal with different types of infertilities and how effective that treatment can be. So when we talk about women and the health of the women, we call women as Stri in Sanskrit. So Stri comes out from a word called stai, which means that anything which makes movements. So how come this connection comes? Because when a female is pregnant or when a female is conceived, there is a movement of fetus inside the body of a female. So that means that the identity of women is very much linked with the ability, with the unique ability to conceive, and that is how this Stri word comes up, which is equivalent to woman. So before going to infertility, because Ayurveda is a holistic science, it is not just that when a patient with infertility comes up, you directly jump on to the reproductive issues and do the treatment. We have to look at the problems of infertility through the whole holistic perspective. And Ayurveda's definition of health is samdosha samadnishta samdhatu malah kriya prasanna atmendriya mana swast itya abhidhiyate. So it's a Sanskrit verse which means that a good health is when there is a balance of doshas, when there are balanced body tissues or dhatus, when the excretions are normal, when our mind and the soul is happy. So that means we are healthy. And how the body tissues are formed? Once we take a good quality of food at the right time with the good digestion, then slowly all the body tissues are formed in the body, right from the rasa to the shukra. So shukra is the ultimate dhatu or the body tissue which is formed in the body, and shukra, as commonly known as, is not just the it is not similar to just the male semen or something like that. Shukra means the whole reproductive functioning of the body. So in males, it is equivalent to the quality of sperm and hormones, while in females, it is equivalent to all the hormones which are normal in the body, responsible for the good reproductive health, and also about the good reproductive conditions. So, usually, when we talk about infertility in Ayurveda, it is not just to conceive normally. According to Ayurveda, getting a good progeny at the right time in good health is considered as the real fertility in Ayurveda. So we also include all the pregnancy related issues like sometimes stillbirth, sometimes abortions. They will also come into the category of infertility, and we start the treatments in a way that we do detoxifications for the couple starting from preconceptional time. That means as soon as a couple decides to conceive, they should seek a proper Ayurvedic consultation. They should go for certain detoxifications so that they not only just conceive but also get a good quality of child with the balanced doshas, so that even after the child grows up, the different kind of diseases he might or she might get will not be there. So Ayurveda is a science having its own method of diagnosis and treatment. So according to Ayurvedic classics, infertility is a failure to achieve a healthy child rather than a pregnancy. Therefore, the repeated abortions and stillbirths will also be considered and will also be there in the types of infertility. So when we talk about infertility, we call it bandhyatva in Ayurveda, and there are 4 factors called Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, and Bijam, which are required to be healthy to get a good quality of offspring. So, like when we have to grow a plant, we have to look for the right season. We have to look for the right amount of soil and good quality of soil, good quality of seeds, and water to be, and the good irrigation. So similarly, when an offspring has to be born, when a couple has to conceive, it's also very similar concept. So Ritu means the optimal time to conceive, a right season to conceive, the right time of ovulation. When they meet, they can get conceived. Then comes the Kshetra. Kshetra means that area, means the uterus, its endometrial linings, ovaries, vaginal areas, all the reproductive areas should be healthy enough to receive and to conceive. Then comes the Ambu, which means various kind of hormones, all the fluids, the blood circulation to the uterus should be healthy, so that once there is a attachment or implantation of the fetus, it gets a proper amount of hormones and blood circulation for proper nutrition. And the 4th thing comes up as Bij. So Bij means the ovum, the female egg, and the male sperm. So both of them has to be of good quality, so that the chances of getting any kind of genetic, problems and different kind of infective problems may not be there. So a good quality of Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, Bijan is promised when a proper Ayurvedic regime and Ayurvedic treatments are being taken. So different kind of infertilities are being described with different names in Ayurveda. It is not very important to know different names of types of infertility, because ultimately it is more about the doshas which are involved. It's more about the prakriti of the patient or the couple when they come to us, We have to assess that, and accordingly the Panchkarma treatment is being planned, the medicinal treatment is being planned, and accordingly the treatments are done. So when we talk about the Ayurvedic management of infertility, we start right from the whole body's health, mental health, strengthening of the immune system, nourished dhatus, balanced lifestyle, and ultimately all these things combine together to help with the fertility. You might be amazed to know that during this lockdown phase, which happened throughout the world, there were certain researches done, and even for our patients who were under the treatment of infertility, and also the patients who were under IVF, they could not complete their treatments because of the lockdown. So they could conceive normally. So it was such a surprise to many, the people of medical fraternity, that simply a stress-free lifestyle, because most of the people who were working hard, who were traveling, who were, under a lot of mental stress, when they were in the home in stress-free situation, it was easy for them to conceive normally, which they could not do for so many years. So we understand that many of the problems related to infertility happens because of Vata. So Vata is one of the doshas which is responsible for various gynecological disorders. Nahi Vata vrite yonir narinam samriddhi. So Vata is a very important factor. It has to be properly channelized, because one subtype of Vata called Apan Vata is responsible for the right conception and the childbirth and the semen ejaculation, proper menstrual flow. So if the Vata is not in balance, which can happen directly, which can happen when somebody is in extreme mental stress, it can also happen when the digestion is not proper, the digestive fire is not good, and it can also happen because of a very strenuous lifestyle. So because nowadays females are under this multitasking, they are also active in their careers, but they have to also do their household work. So a lot of pressure builds up, which is a very common reason for Vata aggravation in the system. And it is being mentioned in Ayurvedic text that Vata is a main factor responsible for infertility. So when a patient approaches us for infertility, we have to take care of the fact that we balance the Vata in whatever form it is not in balance. So if somebody is having a loss of sleep, which is because of Vata aggravation, having headaches or having a lot of stress, then we have to do certain procedures or to tell them to eat certain herbs, certain kind of food to balance Vata. For example, Shirodhara can be done, or a simple Ayurvedic head massage can be done in that way, or simply doing yoga, specific yoga asanas to relieve stress, to help with good sleep, would simply help. And it is not just that the stress, how would it affect? We very well understand scientifically and in the modern parameters also that pituitary gland, which is present in the brain, is mainly responsible for all the hormonal, hypothalamo pituitary ovarian axis, which is functional to have a good hormonal channelization. So definitely that is affected. And by doing these procedures like Shirodhara, head massages, pacifying herbs like ashwagandha, brahmi, shank pushpi would certainly help in a certain way. A very specific herb called jatamansi, used in different forms, like in cold decoction forms, in ark distillate forms, is very helpful for infertility. Vatanuloman is one type of treatment which we do through medicines, through Panchkarma. There is another treatment which is very good for Vata. The father of Ayurveda, Maharishi Charak, calls it as the half treatment in Ayurveda, and it is called Vasti. So Vasti basically is a treatment which is a kind of Ayurvedic enema given with certain mixtures of herbs and materials in a rhythmic phase. So it can be given for 8 days continuously, for 16 days continuously, for 30 days continuously, and the results are amazing. So we get a proper vata balance with the help of these vastis, and it is a very efficacious treatment. Sometimes, especially nowadays, when the problem of infertility is associated with PCOD, which is a disorder of vata along with kapha. So that means vata in itself is blocked or not channelized properly because of the obstruction of kapha. So it usually happens when a patient is overweight, or the sedentary lifestyle is there, or the patient is usually on a very high fat diet or a very high energy diet. So vata is usually covered with kapha, where first we have to remove that kapha or a vitiated kapha, also called ama, and then we channelize vata. So for that purpose, we do certain treatments called Vamana in Panchkarma. We do certain external treatments like Udvartana, and also certain herbo-mineral combinations which are meant to absorb or to remove that excess of kapha. And definitely with a good diet, with a good lifestyle, with a good yoga addition to the lifestyle, if the weight is reduced and the proper kapha balance is maintained, then automatically the vata could circulate properly, the channels in the body are cleaned properly, and a person or a female who is having that PCOD issue along with infertility can be treated well. Similarly, another very common reason for infertility comes up as endometriosis. It is again becoming a very common, epidemic-like situation where 1 in every 8 or 7 females suffer with that. And usually the exact cause for endometriosis is not known, but according to Ayurvedic principles, when we treat it, it is again that the flow of vata, the downward flow of apan vata is not properly there. Usually, there is an upward movement. So we need a proper vatanuloman in those cases. We have to treat it properly through vastis and uttar vastis, and definitely a good lifestyle, especially following menstrual regimes. So it is a complete another topic to be discussed here. We will not be having that much of time to discuss that part of menstrual regime, that how we scientifically analyze the fact that a female, when she is menstruating, is in a different physiological state, and she has to be given a certain amount of physical and mental rest at that time. So as we discussed earlier, that females are usually multitasking and involved in various kind of activities all at the same time. So at that time, as was being considered as superstitious, that okay, if a female is menstruating, she should be kept in a separate place. She should not be eating very heavy food. So that was, if we see it through a different eye and with a special understanding of scientific facts and Ayurvedic facts, we would understand that in a certain way it was really helpful for the proper flow of menstruation, for the proper channelization of vata, and that could really help with prevention of such diseases like endometriosis. So we normally see in our practice also that endometriosis is very common in females who are multitasking. So definitely that gives us another angle to look at why those kind of regimes were being described. various regimes in Ayurveda are being described for females to maintain their good reproductive health. So one of them was menstrual regime. Second was what you call it, pregnancy regime. And the third one is post-pregnancy regime, which is usually prescribed for 45 days. Right? So coming back to the treatment part, I'm here going very shallow so that everybody who is involved in this program can understand it. It is not definitely for the doctors, so I'll not go into the details. The second part of the treatment was Aam Pachan. So Aam Pachan means, as I told you earlier also, that if a patient comes to us for infertility, we'll not jump on directly to the reproductive health and we'll only take the history related to gynecology. We have to understand the complete, physical problems, especially related to digestion, because ultimately every kind of problem starts with mandagni, right? So that means that weak digestion and improper food makes the improper rasa, which is the first dhatu, and subsequently all the dhatus are not formed properly, leading to the weak shukra dhatu also. So which is the last dhatu and the most refined dhatu, which is responsible for our reproductive health. So if we have to correct the quality of that shukra dhatu, we have to right away start from eating healthy, from having a good digestion, eating at the right time, doing a considerable amount of physical activity, so that subsequently, starting from rasa, all the dhatus are refined and properly formed, and ultimately a good shukra dhatu is being formed. So Aam Pachana means all the toxins which are formed because of improper diet and digestion are to be taken off from the body. If it is too much, it is taken out through detoxification procedures like Vaman, Virechan, Vasti. And if it is not too much, we can do it with Ayurvedic medicines also. And definitely through a good lifestyle and diet also. So there are references of many Ayurvedic herbs, very popular nowadays, that taking Shatavari is good for health. Taking Shatapushpa, Ashwagandha, Lakshmana, Trikatu, Lashun. So various herbs are being described. But I would suggest that Ayurveda is a person-specific science. All the herbs which are described for good fertility are also to be taken according to your own dosha status, according to your prakriti, and according to your specific problem. Because every herb also has its own prakriti. For example, if Shatavari is to be considered, Shatavari is a herb which is cooling, which is Vata Pitta pacifying. So definitely it may not be a good choice if somebody is of Kapha Prakriti, if somebody is obese, if somebody is suffering with a Kapha dominant PCOD, right? So every herb which is described for infertility may not be good for every patient who is suffering with infertility. So always make sure whenever you decide to choose Ayurveda for your problem, please contact your nearby Ayurveda practitioners who are doing Ayurvedic practice genuinely, so that you understand that which herb can be good for you according to your own doshas and your prakriti, right? Then there are various Ayurvedic formulations. So not simple single herbs, but the formulations which could consist of 10, 15, 20 herbs in combination, which work synergistically to work on your specific problems. About the dietary suggestions. So again, because on the common platforms, it is very common to expect some tips to okay, if I could not conceive for 2 years, what should I eat? This is a very tough question for an Ayurveda practitioner. Because Ayurveda, again, I would emphasize, is a person-specific science. According to your present condition, according to your dosha status, according to your symptoms, according to the place you live, according to the type of work you do, the prescription of an Ayurvedic practitioner would change. Even the dietary changes would happen. There are certain food items like urad dal, as we say, is a good fertility promoter. It is advised for good fertility for both males and females because it is a very good lentil to pacify vata, and there are many researches which are done which says that it is good for fertility. But for example, if a person comes who is very weak with digestion, so that person, if could not digest urad dal and just taking it for the sake of improving fertility, it will not improve. It will even vitiate the rasa, rakta, mans, med, and subsequently the shukra dhatu will not be formed properly. So, any herb which is being described or any food item which is being described, you have to first listen to your body. You have to see whether after taking it you feel comfortable, your digestion is good, your evacuations are proper, you are feeling light, there is no acidity with it. Then definitely after that, the various dietary things good for fertility can be added. But not blindly understanding that this is good, so I have to eat it regularly, because ultimately you will eat it, it will not get absorbed from the body, it will remain in the intestines for longer periods of time, it will start fermenting and producing toxic gases, producing ama, and ultimately even negatively affecting your condition. Uh, Obviously, along with the diet, a good lifestyle, uh, some family time, some time to give to yourself, especially during periods, having some rest time. If you can afford, take some 1 or day 2 off when you are heavily bleeding during menstruation, and relax, read some books, meditate. That would be very helpful. And properly following the sadvrit, the ethical things would be helpful. And ultimately, on this International Day of Yoga, I would emphasize the efficacy of the complete Ashtang Yoga in the treatment of infertility. Doing proper yam, niyam, asanas, pranayams, meditation is definitely going to take care of this condition. So on this note, I would like to thank all the organizers to give me some time to share my thoughts with all the participants. Thank you so much.
Dr. Rani, thank you very much. It was an amazing session. Thank you for your sharing on Ayurveda and success story of infertility. On behalf of our viewers and the organizer, I would like to thank you for being here with us for the International Day of Yoga and Wellness 2020. Wish you all the best, and thank you, Dr. Rani Gupta. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.